Welcome to Money 911, where we don't just talk about money, we talk about the energy behind it, the health that fuels it, and the peace of mind that sustains it. Today's conversation is personal. For years, I've been using something so simple yet so powerful, and I've watched it support my body, my energy, and my clarity in ways I didn't even know I needed. What if the reason so many people feel exhausted, anxious, or just not themselves isn't that complicated at all? What if something your body has been quietly asking for all along? Today, we're going to uncover the truth with someone who has dedicated her life to helping people feel better, naturally, simply, and powerfully. Dr. Carolyn Dean. Dr. Carolyn Dean, welcome to Money 911.
Thank you. Thank you, Kris, and call me Carolyn.
Okay. Well, it's just fabulous. I want to imprint that in people's brains so they can really wrap around what you're saying. It's phenomenal, the way that you've delivered it to me. I've listened to you probably a decade. I was trying to go back in my emails of when I started with you. And as I said earlier, talking about using your programs and your products, and just phenomenal. I'm really glad to be able to share this today with everybody. And there's so much, you'll probably have to come back again, but people are feeling every day that what they accept is normal, but it's actually a sign that there's something off. So why are so many high performing, successful people still feeling drained and then wired at the same time?
Mhm. Yeah, that is quite a constant. They rev up, get your adrenaline going, probably with coffee and stimulants.
Right.
And then you do crash, and then you need some more stimulants to bring you up. And the stimulants, I mean, it could be sugar too, sugar,
Yeah.
coffee, maybe smoking, various types of smoking. So we're medicating ourselves with this up and down that we're going through, not realizing that those foods and drinks are really medicines, and they have their side effects. So my whole philosophy is, and I'm a hard worker. I'm just, full on multitasking, don't stop for anything.
Right.
And when I started to sort of run down when I was going through mid 40s menopause in New York, I was there doing an AIDS study, for Pete's sakes, AIDS and chronic fatigue in the early 90s. My mother told people that I was a missionary in New York.
Right.
And I started to really, my energy was low. I was starting to have hot flashes and, adrenal rushes, and not so much panic attacks, but you'd be walking up a hill and you'd be panting. And right around that time, I'd been doing some New York morning television, and Random House asked me to write a book on magnesium. And I thought, how can I find 300 pages on one mineral? And it wasn't more than a minute for me to realize that I had severe magnesium deficiency. I was
Right.
getting eye twitches, I was getting headaches, insomnia, neck pain, IBS. Can be part of magnesium deficiency, leg cramps, Charlie horse leg cramps. My feet would cramp up. If I'd stretch in bed, my whole leg would go into spasm.
Yeah.
So severe magnesium deficiency. But then what happened, Kris, is I went out to get a higher dose of magnesium than was in my multiple, and I immediately got the laxative effect.
Right.
So there I was, knowing the disease I had, magnesium deficiency, knowing the cure, but seriously, people said to me, "You've lost weight." I was in the toilet all the time. I was having chronic diarrhea, and I I kind of knew what was causing it, but I needed the magnesium. So anyway, um, I wrote the book, The Magnesium Miracle. It's gone through a couple of editions. The second edition was 600 pages, so people weren't reading it. So I condensed it into this larger print, couple hundred pages, The Magnesium, the Missing Link to Total Health, which is just, it's out of this world how important magnesium is. And what I realized from my personal experience was that people, hard driving, energetic people, if they didn't have enough magnesium, they weren't sleeping well, they were exhausted during the day, and they had to push their adrenal glands. And after a while, the adrenals will crash. So what I did after the book was published, The Magnesium Miracle, I tried to get mineral companies to make a non-laxative magnesium. Research it. There must be a way, and nobody could be bothered because you see, magnesium of any type is it's so important in the body that even the highly laxative magnesium oxide will make people feel better.
Right.
So these companies just thought, well, it's working. People are buying it. Everybody loves magnesium. But I finally came across a chemist who was able to make a stabilized ion of magnesium from magnesium chloride. So in our bottle, our liquid magnesium formula, it's magnesium ions, which are fully absorbed at the cellular level. A compound, when it gets in the body has to break it apart. Not physically, but there's a disassociation of ions that occurs naturally. So it disassociates, but in a fraction of a second, magnesium will bind back up to something or other. So it doesn't really stay as a stable ion like our formula. We've done university studies where they'll shine a laser through our formula and there's no solid substance in our liquid bottles because it's below the size that you can see, well, even under a microscope. So anyway,
Right. Right.
to me, it became all about getting enough magnesium in the body that didn't run you to the bathroom, that could process 600 to 800 enzyme systems and 80% of known metabolic functions. So when I knew that, it was like mind blowing. 80% of known metabolic functions. So that's the basis. That is the basis of health, is getting your magnesium. And, I've been saying it now for decades, and it seems so simplistic. But what is happening, as I said, if you're not taking a magnesium that's absorbed, then it's going right out the other end, and not going to take it, and you're going to end up with all your magnesium deficiency symptoms still, at a
Right.
high level bothering you, and you're going to look for other things. This is where
Yeah.
people then go after the methylene blue or the
Right.
DMSO or the alpha lipoic and the carnitine, all these other things that sure they may be helpful, but what you'll notice, they're all antioxidants, and you can overdo antioxidants. So anyway, that's my thesis, that people, for baseline health, you have to get your magnesium right.
And you're saying, I mean, it's amazing to me. So you have the nanoparticles, and what is it, 95% or 100% absorbable? It all goes where it's supposed to go instead of
Yeah.
out the other end, right?
Yeah,
It's
the other,
it's
exactly.
amazing. I mean, I think it's that great. It should have a Nobel Peace Prize on it because it's such a major component like vitamin C, one of those major things that
Right,
you should have. But you as a doctor were blessed to have that, to be able to put that together.
right.
Most people are so overwhelmed, they want to feel better. What So what
Mhm.
would be what's a simple place for, for people to start because, they can't even take the time to listen to your podcast, which they should because
Mhm.
you really dive deep into some really great, interesting conversations. Like I wouldn't have never thought of that. But that's all you've been thinking about, and you're a
Right.
master magnesium but guru or
Well,
something, right?
yeah, it's interesting. Back in 2008, just around the crash, the economic crash, I'd been putting out an online newsletter. I called it Future Health Now. And I think it was like 110 what I called modules. People would buy a membership. Every week I'd give them like 10 pages of, do this. It had to do with everything: exercise, diet, meditation, turning off the electricity in your bedroom, all the things that the biohackers are talking about now. I
Yeah.
had 110 different modules. And when the crash happened, I had people get in touch with me and they said, I don't even have time to read any of your
Right.
modules anymore. Just tell me what to take.
Right.
And I knew that people they were just desperate for solutions that would keep them away from doctors, out of hospitals, away from drugs. And
Right.
that's when I really looked at the supplement industry because I was taking this and that, and this is yeah, a few years before I had my own magnesium called Remag. I was making do with saturating myself with magnesium oil.
Uh-huh.
You would make it, you'd pour magnesium chloride in saline or distilled water, and it would be this oily magnesium solution. And I was getting rashes. I was having to put so much on my body
Oh,
for my symptoms. I mean,
right.
I was having heart palpitations, everything.
Mm.
So I began looking. I was in New York, back to the AIDS study. I was doing Chinese formulas that I potentized homeopathically and then injected into acupuncture points
Mm.
with an electromagnetic little handheld device. It was out of this
Wow.
world.
Yeah.
But it was an injectable, and
Hmm.
that meant the doctors had to be in charge of it, and they just weren't interested.
Right.
It meant they had to learn something, buy something, charge something,
Right.
educate patients about it. But I thought, okay, then these Chinese herbs, maybe I can put them into capsules and create a protocol with the Chinese herbs. So I went to a really big supplement manufacturer and I said, what's the process of bringing herbs in from China and encapsulating them? And what if they're contaminated? Oh, don't worry about that. We'll run them through this gas, and
Oh,
we'll put them in
jeez.
this bath, and we'll do all these things, and they'll pass all the tests. Yeah,
Oh,
no
right.
worry. They'd be dead. They would be dead
Right.
herbs, but
Exactly.
they would pass all the tests. So I thought, oh my gosh, this is just not going to work. And, unless you grow your own herbs and take them right off the land, you don't know what you're getting anymore,
Right.
even if they say organic. And
Yeah.
actually, Kris, sidebar, that led me to totally funding this big organic farm we have here in Maui.
Mm.
Because I thought, yes, we have to eat good food. The sugar's not helping us. The omega-6 fatty acids, seed oils are not helping us. So let me do this farm. And I have tried many times over the years just to live off organic farm food, vegan, vegetarian. It doesn't work for me. So yeah, that's another thing I realized. Everybody has an individual predisposition to the diet that's going to be helpful for them. So we grow our own herbs. We have freeze dryers. We'll have online stores at some point, but that's where you have to start.
Yeah.
I have to eyeball exactly what I want if I want to be able to present it to other people. So back, where were we? Back to the fact that
You had
that
you had that amazing, it wasn't okay, you switched from injectables and you're not going to spray all the
mm,
herbs from China,
oh
right?
my gosh,
I
this
mean,
is what we're up
that's
against.
really cool though that that idea in itself, is, cutting edge right there, but
Right.
continue on,
Yeah.
right?
So what I said, okay, uh, I'd already gone to a couple of meetings in Europe with Codex Alimentarius. Codex was an international organization, the World Health Organization, the World Trade Organization, and the FAO, the Agriculture Organization. They wanted to control dietary supplements and the toxins and poisons that they would allow in foods. They wanted to allow as much poison in the food as they could get away with and as few supplements as they could, the low potency. Their idea of the best multiple was Centrum. So they wanted it to be synthetic and low potency so that, and this is, I can quote them,
Mm,
that it wouldn't interfere with drugs. So there was nothing to do with these nutrients. What I said about magnesium? You needed in 80% of known metabolic functions, 600 to 800 enzyme systems. They don't care about that.
yeah,
So
right.
you've got this epidemic of magnesium deficiency and nobody cares. So knowing all this low potency, okay, then if I I've got the chemist on board now. We have our Remag magnesium, and then I put together a formula, multiple mineral called Remice,
Right.
12 minerals. Nine of those minerals make thyroid hormones. It's not a linear thing. There's a lot going on, but you need nine minerals if you want to have your hands and feet warm. And after 6 weeks of being on my formula as we were going through the testing, I got off my 60 milligrams of Armour thyroid.
Yay.
And this is low potency minerals, but they're stabilized ions, so they're fully absorbed. So I went click, click, click. What do I do with B vitamins? I get food-based methylated Bs, low potency.
Mm,
This is uh, this is kind of before the time of 23andMe when everybody was being told, "Oh, you've got MTHFR. Your genes are disabled." So the whole MTHFR business, when the Genome Project collapsed, and it collapsed because they went about I don't know if it was $1 billion, but they put a lot of money into sequencing the human genome.
right.
And they thought, okay, we'll probably get 100,000 genes and we'll be able to snip out the bad ones. Very Star Trek, but very stupid.
Yeah.
And what they found at the end of their genome project, oh my gosh, the human genome only has 23,000 genes, a quarter of what we thought. So, oh my gosh, there's so much going on in the body. That means several genes are working together. And then the epigenetic world appeared, where epigenetics just means around the genes. What's happening around the genes? Well, vitamins and minerals are turning genes on and off. The most common ones are magnesium and the B vitamins. If you don't have them, your genes can go a little bit haywire, and that's what's causing the problem. So I had all these things going, okay, so then I'll do methylated. And as I said, that's where we found out about this MTHFR. So give everybody food-based, foods that are already methylated, that are already uh, in nature, they're already designed to do the right thing.
Right.
Instead of giving people these synthetic B vitamins. And then I worked with like Pico Silver, for example.
Yeah.
Colloidal silver is out there, but that's a silver compound. It has to disassociate. The silver has to be isolated ion to be absorbed, but it's going to bind up right away. So I made a stabilized, I call my minerals picometer, not nanometer, because the nanotechnology kind of got a bit warped. So these stabilized silver ions that do incredible things. Silver is responsible for stimulating bone marrow production and helping to make the immature cell lines that we need to go here, there, or everywhere. So silver is doing amazing things. I mean, they still use silver in burn clinics.
Right.
It's the only thing that they can use when people have these massive body burns to keep them from being infected. They cannot give people enough oral antibiotics to prevent burn infections. So they saturate gauze with a type of silver compound
Mm,
and put it on the body. And that's the way they save people's lives.
right.
Silver is still awesome, but because it's not patented and not
Yeah.
expensive, it's not really promoted in any way.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that we can do with the vitamins and minerals that we know the body needs. You mentioned vitamin C. I interviewed Dr. Thomas Levy. He's a MD lawyer, and he's big on vitamin C, huge vitamin C proponent. And vitamin C is awesome. Even the ascorbic acid part, it's like in high doses. Linus Pauling says it'll cure heart disease for Pete's sakes.
Right.
And
Right.
they tried to make it like Linus Pauling was just treating the common cold. He
Yeah.
was curing heart disease. So
Yeah.
on my podcast, when I asked Dr. Levy, well, what do you think is more important for the body, magnesium or vitamin C? I put him on the spot. And he said, well, I guess it has to be magnesium because it does much more than vitamin C.
Right.
But I'm getting to the point where I think they're almost equal in importance because when you look at humans, we do not produce our own vitamin C. How crazy is that?
That is. Yeah. Yeah.
Humans, apes, and I think bats,
Mm,
maybe there's something else, but you know, tens of thousands of animals and species produce their own vitamin C.
right.
And
Wow.
rats and mice are used in all these studies, and it's like, well, but when they infect them or do something to them, they're producing vitamin C.
Huh.
Doesn't that make the study a little bit,
Yeah.
incomplete?
And
So I
yeah.
have this whole vitamin C thing going. That's my next book is on vitamin
Your
C.
vitamin C is awesome. I do that every morning. And so you got Remag, which is magnesium, and Remite, which is the minerals, and you have just a line there. Do you find yourself like cycling through? So you're not, I was, I want to hear what you say on how you might cycle through. Are you consistently taking a little bit of everything, or are you an intuitive to where, I have enough, maybe I'll lower my magnesium now and raise up this? I mean, how do you manage all those wonderful products that you have?
Right. Yes, because yeah, you do have to have a protocol and a consistency. When I first started taking my Remag, I was focused on my heart palpitations. I had to take 4 teaspoons,
Yeah.
which 1,200 milligrams. I wasn't even able to take 50 milligrams without the laxative effect. So with Rema, I was taking 1,200 milligrams for over a year before I felt that, I wasn't getting any symptoms if I missed a day or two. I would test myself. And then I started to get a bit of laxative effect, and I said, okay, I'm cutting back. And presently, I'm only taking a teaspoon and a half, which is 450 milligrams, which is the RDA.
Hmm.
And that keeps me saturated, keeps my symptoms away. But actually, Chris, I do take the same amount every day. I might,
Uh-huh.
if there's so much going on that I forget to take this or that, I might skip a day. And that's what I used to do back in the day when I had like 100 bottles of things. I'd have
Right,
to take a break. But
right.
see, what I'm getting at about these vitamins and minerals is they're supposed to be in our food. We are
Yeah,
supposed to be eating them every day, and we aren't getting them in our food anymore. And we have to, I say we have to take them every day because we're just not getting them anywhere else. And that is the reason why people are overeating, is because they're constantly searching for the nutrients. And it's like, oh, I don't feel complete. I better eat some more so I
right.
can get that vitamin C or the vitamin B, and they don't. And that's what the ultra processed food studies are showing. They who is it? I forget the name of the doctor who did, I think, 20 people. He isolated them in a hospital ward for several months and fed them ultra processed food or a normal, probably normal, bad diet, and then compared at the end and then switched them around. And he found that when they ate ultra processed food, they ate 500 more calories and gained more weight.
Right.
They were eating those calories to try to find nutrients. And when I spoke up at a nutrition meeting several years ago up in Canada, actually, I said it's because they're searching for nutrients. It didn't even occur to them that that's possible. And actually, I've just completed a 6 month study here in Maui, 10 people on seven of my formulas for 6 months. Incredible results. Several people slowed their aging from 4 to 7 years.
Mm,
4 to 7 years, and had all kinds of beneficial effects. And speaking of Centrum, they did a Centrum cacao study,
mm.
cocoa and Centrum. They did it for 2 years on I don't know how many thousands of people. Oh my gosh, look at this conclusion. We slowed aging by 4 months, and they're crowing about this. And we've got years on them. It's just incredible. So,
We're all
so,
looking at you. That's a testimony.
uh,
If people know how old you are. You mean how young you are.
oh yeah, I,
It's
I
reflective.
know. Here's what I say, Chris. I say at 77 now, I feel better than I did in my 30s.
There you go.
Because in
Yeah.
my 30s, I was all tight and palpitating and all the rest of it because of magnesium deficiency. And I don't know, it sounds kind of trite. Oh, all you need is magnesium. But it's more, all you need is the right kind of magnesium. And that makes
Exactly.
all the difference. And you ask me, well, where do people start? And yeah, I'm a salesman now. I never thought I would be a salesman, but who else is going to tell people about this?
Right. Right.
Like you said about my story, I've got a story that led me to develop something that nobody in the world has. So I say to people, well, at the farmers market that we have every Tuesday, I have my book there with my products and all the farm goods. We just have a wonderful time. And I talk to people and I say, well, read my book. Here's a free copy. And they, oh my gosh, thank you. And they read it and I say, yeah, because they're all on magnesium, Chris. They're all taking
Right.
magnesium. They still have
Yeah.
all these symptoms.
Well,
And I say,
yeah.
well, when you
Yeah.
finish your magnesium, just take this bottle. It's only $30, which, is it'll last you for a month and a half, and see how you do. I really downplay it because
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't really elaborate to you before we started, but and I can't, you know, testify to certain things because of the medical, I'm not a doctor, but I was taking 4 teaspoons. It kept me alive during something that I was going through for a number of years, and that I didn't really understand it, but it's coming to fruition now. Once I get through this process, I'll be able to share it more with you because I'm like a testimony. I took it for like 7 years or 10 years. I'm not quite sure, but I was taking a high dose. It was keeping me alive. And I didn't
Wow.
really know what was going on, right? But something wasn't right. And so
Mhm.
I'm really grateful. And it's not, you know, I'm not getting paid to say this is a
Yeah.
real deal, right? I don't get anything from it,
Oh,
but
oh, now, Chris, I said I'd send you a free copy of my book. There you
okay.
go. There's the bribe.
There you go. Well, of course, I share it with everyone, but I mean, it's so important that, health is wealth. You can have $1 million, but if you have no health, you have
Oh,
nothing. And
and look
all,
at the people.
right?
Yeah. And the people that you consult with, the money end of thing, the entrepreneurship. I have my own businesses and I work nonstop and I love it, but
Right.
it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah,
So, and we started that way. You can burn yourself out, but you don't have to feel burnt out if you're supplying yourself with the building blocks all along the way.
exactly. Okay, so just a little fun, light part right here. What's one daily ritual or something that you never skip besides your remag and goodies? What would you say that would be?
Right. Okay, here's what I do. I get up in the morning. I get up at 4 o'clock in the
Okay.
morning, and I'll drink sea salted water. So I put a quarter teaspoon of a good colorful sea salt, so it has minerals in it.
Right.
Colorful sea salt in a liter of water, and I drink that with uh, several of my capsules, vitamin vitamin C. Well, whole C reset is a capsule, so that's totally food based to the point where it's going to help with bruising. And when I had magnesium deficiency, I sort of bite the inside of my mouth or about
Yeah. Yeah.
my jaw would go into spasm, and when I was eating, and that would ulcerate and wouldn't heal for 3 weeks.
Yikes. Wow.
But when I started making my own food-based vitamin C, I don't get that anymore. It's gone.
Fabulous.
So I'm taking Whole C Reset, my D3 K2. D3 only works if it's activated with magnesium.
Mm,
And you put K2 in there because K2 helps the calcium that vitamin D uh, absorbs. It helps take the calcium into the bones. So does magnesium. And I'm swallowing, I have a Flora Revive. My other big thing besides mineral deficiency is yeast overgrowth.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
grew up with, high sugar diet. I'd eat a pint of ice cream and a can of peaches and syrup every night while I was doing my homework. It's a wonder I survived. And I didn't,
Yeah.
fortunately, I didn't get acne. I don't know what I would have done. So anyway, I over the years, I've gone through like 10 years of eating no sugar, no wheat, no dairy to try to starve my yeast. That didn't help.
Hmm.
I tried everything, oregano oil, everything. And finally, I just created a formula myself with Saccharomyces boulardii, and that's sort of a natural yeast that bumps out Candida yeast, and it's proven very safe. It's used for childhood diarrhea. So I said, well, if children are, so it
Yeah.
has a high safety profile.
Right.
Humic fulvic acid, which is probiotic, prebiotic minerals, humic fulvic inulin, which is a prebiotic, and we have a special kind of catalyst. It's one of our products is called RNA drops, and it's made by growing um, germinating rye. No, sorry, barley. It's germinated barley seeds. And we have these huge drums, and it rotates in this drum. The barley seeds, some water, or some this and that, and it produces RNA drops. Well, what's left over is barley straw,
Mm.
and that straw now has become an incredible fertilizer. On the
Wow.
farm here, I put that straw, did an experiment, put the straw in a patch of radish seeds, and we had a big plot beside it without the straw. After 25 days, which is the germination time of radishes, we got the most beautiful, bright
Mm.
red, huge radishes, 85 pounds. In
Wow.
the plot that didn't have the barley straw, we got 3 pounds that looked okay. The rest of
Incredible.
it had been eaten up by worms and
Mm.
had been flooded by weeds. So it's kind of a biblical recipe that we used. And what I say the barley is
Right.
doing is mimicking the life force and making sure that as you have a strong life force, you don't attract predators. So the whole thing about being strong and resilient is that you have the whole armor of God. I mean, you
Right.
are protected. And
Yes. Yes.
there are protections that you can use. We can use words, we can command the angels, we can do all that, but we can also physically do these formulas. And the
Right.
RNA drops, what people can take them by mouth. When I first started them, I had all this tobacco taste in my mouth. My dad had been a smoker.
Mm.
So I was detoxing the tobacco. It was quite
Oh,
remarkable. And
amazing.
it's not a inexpensive product. So what I do with it is I dehydrate the drops, and then I put that powder in our Flora Revive, in our vitamin C reset berry powder, in our restructure protein powder, so that people get the benefit of it.
It's
And
fabulous.
then I'm in the liquid I'm drinking my minerals with, I will put my Remag, my Remite, Pico Silver, Pico Potassium. Now, potassium is very important right at this stage in all the biohacking of diet, because what are people eating on keto and carnivore and even paleo? They're not eating a lot of plants
Hmm.
that give us our potassium. So we've become potassium deficient. And
Right.
potassium and magnesium, they might as well be married. They're so
Oh, wow.
they're, they're so interactive.
Yeah.
We'll have people who are just on our Remag and say, well, it's helping a lot, but I've still got this and that. And we say, well, maybe you should take some pico potassium, and that sort of opens everything up.
Yeah.
And I also put out a zinc copper picometer size stabilized ion of zinc and copper, because during the COVID days, what was helping people with their COVID infections was zinc.
Hmm.
So I'll,
Right.
I'll leave it at
That's
that.
no, that's on the list for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so what is your go-to reset when life feels overwhelming? I mean, I know you have a whole combination. Is there just a go-to reset you have?
Well, we tell people, and I myself, I might take some extra of what I'm already taking, but my detox go-to, which when things get jammed up, or my head's fuzzy or whatever, is actually a coffee enema.
Oh yeah, those are the best. Yeah. Clears
That's,
everything up. I
I know.
agree. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. So I've
Would you
had
like some coffee, Dr. Dean? No, I only take it as an enema.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, tell everybody how to get in contact with you, what you're excited about, and we're definitely going to have you back again, but
Oh,
just
yeah.
just go ahead and share a little bit there about that.
Right. My educational website is drcarolyndean.com. That's got my blogs. Our interview will be up there. It's got my books. There's a bit of a membership that we have to hide behind a wall because the FDA during the COVID years, the
Mm-hmm.
FDA came after a lot of us.
Yeah.
We couldn't even have testimonials saying we could help people. I wasn't even saying anything about COVID. We couldn't have a testimonial saying, this
Helps.
product help
Right.
this or that. That's making a health claim, and only
Yeah.
drugs can heal. So
Yeah.
we're under the gun, dietary supplement companies. We cannot say what we can help people with. Anyway,
Exactly. I know.
drcarolyndean.com.
Right.
And my shop site, we just put up a new site. It's beautiful. It's rnareset.com. I was talking about the importance of RNA a long time ago.
Yep.
rnareset.com. And what's coming up? I've already mentioned I've got a book coming out, the vitamin C book. We're going to promote this Maui reset study that I just finished because we're looking at kind of the longevity of things. Since we can't talk about disease or make health claims, we're saying, okay, then we'll just make you live longer. We'll slow your aging, and we proved that.
That's true.
And it's interesting, Kris, because during the study, I started writing, oh yeah, this and that about nutrition trials and the randomized control trials that they're demanding of nutrition, and they're all a bunch of malarkey.
Yep.
So
Yep.
a
Yep.
book after vitamin C, I've got it pretty much written. It's called The Tarnished Gold Standard
Ooh.
of Nutrition Research.
Fabulous,
Because
fabulous. Okay, I want to copy that book, and we'll have you on the show again. No, that is so cutting edge. You go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's exciting. I
thank
got
you.
I got goosebumps on it.
Thank you. It's very important. It's very
Yeah,
important because
absolutely.
nutrition research is pretending to tell us what we should eat and not eat, and they don't have a clue.
No,
They are,
not.
what I see happening actually in a lot of podcasters, even, well-known people, they're saying, oh, well, the mitochondria, what you need is
Yeah,
sunshine, exercise, and movement, and good sleep, and a good diet. They have skipped over the nutrients.
right,
They went
right.
from drugs now to this lifestyle stuff because
Mm-hmm.
they do not see any of these nutrition trials proving that supplements are helpful. So okay, I guess they don't work, but
Mm-hmm.
we know they work. Individually, they work. Small groups, N equals 1 in a experimental trial works. N equals 10 in my trial, they work. So this
Right.
is what we have to get across to people, that they have to rely on their own experience and feelings. But yeah, nutrition research has really um, they've dropped the ball. And by not talking about vitamins and minerals, they're ignoring, what did we say several times throughout?
Right.
80% of known metabolic functions require magnesium,
Mm-hmm.
600 to 800 enzyme processes. They're not talking about that one lick.
Yeah.
It is criminal,
Right.
actually.
Right. Well, yet for a little while, because we'll just keep broadcasting, and the good news will go above all the other
Yeah.
whatever. Right. Carolyn, you are such a blessing. It's such an honor to be able to talk with you. I feel like you're an old friend,
Mm.
and really, really appreciate the gift that you've been blessed with, putting all these great things together, which I use. And I look forward to having another, the vitamin C, see your book, and, have a conversation about that. So important. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for joining me today.
And thank you, Kris, for what you're doing. I mean, we don't know how many people we're helping. You don't
Yeah.
know how many people you're helping with bringing forth your information. So bless you.
All right. God bless you too. Thank you so much. Sometimes the most powerful transformations don't come from adding more. They come from returning to what's simple, what's natural, and what our body has been asking for all along. Today is a reminder that your health is not separate from your success, and your peace of mind is not just something you chase. It's something you create. Dr. Dean, thank you for your heart, your wisdom, and your lifelong commitment to helping people feel better in their bodies and their lives. And to everyone listening, if something resonated today, trust that. Your body is always speaking to you. And today might just be the moment you start listening in a whole new way. This is Money 911, where your health, your wealth, and your peace of mind come together. And your legacy starts from within. I've created the Safe Money Blueprint. This is the same strategy that thousands of my clients have used to feel secure about their financial future. And you can get it free at healthymoneyhappylife.com/blueprint. There's so much to learn about healthy money. I hope today's discussion brings you one step closer to securing and protecting your future. So you can get started on the right foot, go to meetwithkrismiller.com and schedule your free financial fitness strategy session. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to Money 911 so you don't miss our next episode, which includes health, wealth, and peace of mind.